Batas sa aking kamay, a story of a cop who put the law in his hand to avenge the death of his own family and parents. Micrilon Makiling Fernando Poe Jr. Eddie Garcia Charo Santos Concio Viva Films Incorporated, also known as Viva Films, stylized as Viva Films, is a Philippine film production and distribution company owned by Viva Communications. It was founded in 1981 by Vic Del Rosario Jr. and his sister Tess Cruz. 1. Viva Films is one of the largest film studios in the Philippines, along with Star Cinema, Regal Entertainment, and GMA Pictures. Veering away from the Sharon Cunita-Gabby Concepcion tandem, Viva became home to quality dramatic films. The glossy production of films such as Sinasambakita, Palamos in Pagibit, San Darting on Umaga, Kung Mahawi Man on the Lap, and Pano Baam Mandarap won critical and commercial acclaim. Viva Films also made a documentary film on the Puerto Rican boy band Menudo on their visit to the Philippines in 1985. Viva launched then-supporting actor Philip Salvador as an action star in the film Boy Negro. It was also instrumental in introducing to the public Robin Padilla, Bad Boy and Ana Ganay Baby Ama, and Raymart Santiago, Noel Juco, Batang Criminal, as new action stars. Later in action stars Eddie Garcia, Rudy Fernandez, Bon Revilla Jr., and Fernando Poe Jr. also made films for Viva. Viva became later known as home to quality youth-oriented films, starting with the 1984 breakthrough flick, Badgets. The film was top-billed by William Martinez and launched the careers of then-unknowns J.C. Bonin, Hubbard Bautista, Raymond Lutchenko, and Aga Malek. With its box office success, the company produced a sequel, Badgets 2, with Ramon Christopher, John Hernandez, and Francis Magalama joining the original cast. The success of the two Badgets film made it the flagship film of Viva Films, and it set the trend for youth-oriented films in the 1980s, which other film companies copied, but they never matched nor equaled the success brought about by the two Badgets films. Viva also made glossy comedy films like Working Girls, 2010, and Sa Todo Lang, which featured serious actors and actresses as main characters instead of comedians. The company also gambled on new comedians as the 80s decade was about to end. Comedy flicks such as Pudel, Jack and Jill, Humanap Kain Pandet, and I Love You 3X a Day launched the respective careers of Hubbard Bautista, Andrew E., and Jimmy Santos. Heyday, 1989 to 2003. In 1989, Viva introduced its second batch of young stars via the youth-oriented comedy Estudiant Blues. 3. It introduced to the public young stars and that's entertainment mainstays such as Vina Morales, Jelly de Belen, Kimpi de Leon, Raymart Santiago, and Ding Dong Avanzado. The film was also a resounding success, despite the fact that Estudiant Blues became an earlier hit via the Philippine music airwaves as a single sung by Freddie Aguilar. In the 1990s, Viva launched the careers of Dennis Padilla and Jono Gibbs as solo comedians while reviving the film careers of veteran comedians Redford White, Never Together, Chiquito, Panatbiak na Bunga, and Joey De Leon, Habangers. Viva later on entered into television production by partnering with GMA Pictures. Their first venture together was the sitcom Ober de Bakay in 1992 with then rising young talents Donita Rose, Jelly de Belen, and Jono Gibbs and Anjo Alana as main stars, followed by the soap opera Villa Quintana in 1994 with Donna Cruz and Timpi de Leon as lead stars. However, it was the 1995 youth-oriented series TGIS that gave Viva its biggest success as a television producer. Headlined by Angelo de Leon, it gave birth to the careers of Bobby Andrews, Michael Flores, Juanmit Banda, Red Sternberg, Raven Villanueva, and Sierra Sato. The success of the TV series was later translated to the big screen, when the TGIS group became box office stars via the films Aking kamay and TGIS the movie. A new batch of teens were introduced a few months later, and was led by Ding Dong Dantes and Curtis Sunshine Dizon, previously credited as Sunshine, Kim De Los Santos, Antoinette Taz, Polo Ravels, Dino Guevara, and Chubby Del Rosario. In 1996, Viva Films had the highest number of films produced out of all the major studios in the country, producing 35% of all local films in 1995-1996. 4. Decline, 2004 to 2010. Viva Films had the lowest number of films produced among all major film studios in the Philippines for the year 2004, producing only 4. Annie B., Masakip S8 Dip Dip, The Babita Rose Story, Kalimlim, and Lastigman, Anen Bana, all of which were only moderate box office successes. Due to stiff competition, they focused on digital films and distribution the following year. In late 2006, Viva Films returned to mainstream movie production through co-producing with the film outfits owned by the giant networks, Star Cinema, owned by ABS-CBN Corporation, and GMA Pictures, owned by GMA Network Incorporated, while producing films by themselves from time to time. Their first 2 comeback mainstream films were Till I Met You, with GMA Pictures, and Wag Con Lilingen, with Star Cinema. From 2009 to 2010, Viva produced films which were considered firsts. Patient X marks the first Viva movie of Richard Gutierrez and Christine Reyes after the latter signed a contract with Viva Entertainment, while Working Girls marks the first Viva film of the first starstruck female winner Jenny Lynn Mercado after she signed a contract with Viva Entertainment. Continued success, 2011 to 2020. In 2011, Tumbok, Catch Me, I'm in Love, No Other Woman, The Uncavigable Prey by Benjamin, Won't Last a Day Without You, all co-produced by Star Cinema, were released. In 2012, Of All the Things, co-produced by GMA Films, Monon 5 and The Crying Lady, co-produced by MVP Films, and A Secret Affair were released. In 2013, Becca Ken, On Nene Con Becky, The Ticks a Man and a Woman, Momzillas, Hen Girl, Boy, Bakla, Tomboy, all co-produced by Star Cinema, were released. In 2014, Diary in Panda, Trophy Wife and Muslim Magnum .357, To Serve and Protect were released. In 2015, Felix Manalo, a biopic of the Iglesia and I Cristo founder, was released in October. On March 13, 2019, Viva Communications joined the local language film consortium Global Gate Entertainment, which is led by American mini-major film studio Lionsgate, 5. On January 29, 2021, Viva Films released an online video streaming site called VMX, formerly known as VivaMax, conceptualized and overseen by Viva Communications Chairman and CEO Vic Del Rosario, 6, which aims to provide online viewing for their movies such as Maybe This Time, Kita Tita, and Sendano, Sendagot Senwapo. 7. VivaMax released a wide variety of titles, ranging from comedy, horror, and erotica in the form of films and series. Viva also released a separate streaming service called Viva One, formerly Viva Prime, featuring family films aimed at a broader audience. While VivaMax quickly gained a reputation as a purveyor of softcore pornography, 8, 9, Viva COO Vincent Del Rosario dismissed such allegations and claimed that their adult content makes up only 10% of their streaming library. 10, 11. VMX's library of erotic content was also criticized by Senator Jinggoy Estrada, who called out the streaming service for allegedly allowing younger audiences easy access to sexy contents, with no redeeming value, amid calls for the Movie and Television Review and Classification Board, MTRCB, to expand its scope for them to enforce ratings on online streaming services. 12. Starting in 2022, Viva produced a number of films which were released every week online through Viva Max, which was later rebranded as VMX as it reached a significant milestone of 12 million subscribers in October 2024. HGF earnings of the film listed in the box office gross with an estimated amount is not the accurate total gross of the film. Some articles and reports, even the production company itself, are given different amounts of gross and not revealing its actual amount. In this case, the estimated gross amount shown above is from the sources that has a similar report of the gross. Viva Films on Television. During the early 1980s, Viva tied up with IBC to air their early releases every Saturday night. The movie block, titled Viva Box Office Hits, showed early movies of Sharon Cuneta and Debbie Concepcion and other early releases by the company. In March 1988, Viva Box Office Hits was one of the Viva shows that transferred to ABS-CBN, along with the Sharon Cuneta show, after its original home IBC was sequestered by the Aquino administration. Despite Viva Box Office's cancellation on February 16, 1989, succeeding films produced by Viva Films and its subsidiaries continued to air on ABS-CBN through the network's movie blocks Tagalog Movie Greats and Star Cinema presence until 1992. In 1992, Viva switched networks by partnering with GMA Network, where their latest film releases starting in 1991 onwards were shown every Thursday night. The movie block was renamed Viva Cinerama, which ended on January 6, 2002. The said partnership initially caused controversy after former media partner ABS-CBN filed an injunction to block the partnership as the network launched their own motion picture company Star Cinema a year later. The said injunction affected the airing of the 1991 box office hit Aking Kamay, which was supposed to be Viva's maiden offering on Viva Cinerama. After the court decided in favor of the Viva GMA partnership, the said movie finally aired after 6 months. It was also during the GMA era that Viva aired another movie block on Monday nights called MVP, Monday Viva Presentations, on August 15, 1994, primarily to compete with ABS-CBN's then top-rating movie block Regal Presents, which later moved to Tuesdays as Tuesday Viva Presentation from 1997 to 1998. During the new millennium, Viva diversified its film library where it was aired randomly on IBC, via Viva TV Primetime Block, and ABC, now TV5, via the Viva Box Office and Viva Cine Idols movie block. From Free TV, Viva was able to tie up with Star TV and Fox International Channels Philippines to create an all-Filipino international movie channel on May 6, 1996, called Viva Cinema. Viva Cinema aired over 300 movies coming from the Viva library, including the latest releases. It also aired behind-the-scenes outtakes and refreshing entertainment shows. The partnership between Viva and Star TV ended on July 31, 2003, after Viva acquired the remaining stake of the channel from Star TV and when Viva created its movie channel, PBO, Pinoy Box Office, and entrusted the entire Viva movie library to ABS-CBN by allowing it to air over. Viva Prime Channel airs mostly action and drama movies at 7 p.m. only every other week of the month. Viva Cinema returned on February 1, 2009 along with the launch of Philippine DTH's Signal Digital TV of the same month. Aside from Viva entrusting the entire Viva library to ABS-CBN, co-productions of Viva and Star Cinema are also aired exclusively via ABS-CBN's movie block Tapamilia Blockbusters and S+A's movie blocks Action Movie Zone and Lunch Blockbusters, and via Viva Cinema, Viva Prime Channel, and PBO. While co-productions of Viva and GMA films are exclusively aired via GMA's movie blocks Kapuso Movie Festival and/or Kapuso Movie Night, GMA News TV's movie block Taquilla Blockbusters, and via Viva Cinema, Viva Prime Channel, and PBO. For overseas markets, Cinema One Global, owned by ABS-CBN, also aired Viva Films productions for its overseas Filipino audiences. In 2015, Viva partnered with TV5 to provide entertainment content. This transpired after the TV network dissolved its entertainment department to make room for block timers and content providers. It is said that Viva will be the biggest content contributor to the network. However, its partnership with TV5 took a break in late 2016 as former Gilas Pilipinas and PBA head coach, Vicente "Cha" Reyes took over as president and CEO of TV5, which Reyes focused in sports and news programming on TV5 until he resigned in June 2019 due to negative feedbacks by the viewers and fans of the network's entertainment programming against Reyes. 27. On May 10, 2021, after Signal TV took over the TV5 network's management and operations, and Viva resurrected its partnership with TV5 for the overall programming, TV5/Signal and Viva through the Sari Sari channel announced that TV5 will air a Viva weekly movie block under the Sari Sari Presents Viva Cinema banner, similar to the now-defunct Viva Cinerama on GMA, which began on May 15, 2021, every Saturday afternoon. 28. On October 31, 2021, the Cine Spotlight block on Sunday evenings aired. Films produced by Viva from the early to mid-2010s and since May 2022 until early 2023. Older action films produced by Viva, competitor Studio Star Cinema, under ABS-CBN Corporation, assumed the co-production and partnership duties for the block from February to May 2022. On August 1, 2021, Viva reverted its secondary cable-only network Viva TV back to Viva Cinema with older films produced and distributed by Viva until 2000, since August 2025, in the new iteration along with concerts produced by sister company Viva Live. The former had been merged with the company's TV production unit. PBO is set to target broadcasting films from 2002 onwards in the coming years. From September 17, 2022 to April 12, 2024, some of most Viva's classic Filipino movies began to air on All TV Channel 2, a free-to-air and cable television network owned by Advanced Media Broadcasting System via the All Flicks movie block, which airs daily. 29. All of these are later moved into TV5 since October 21, 2024 via the Cine 5 SA Umaga, Cine 5 SA Hapon, since July 14, 2025, also simulcasted on RPTV since October 6 at the same year, Cine 5 Weekend Saya, in which also simulcasted on RPTV since August 9, 2025, thus marking the return of Viva-produced and distributed content to RPN, where it had aired previously. 30, 31, and Cine 5 Astig Sunday movie block. In January 2008, Viva chairman Vic Del Rosario announced that Viva Communications expected to raise P1.1 billion through approval of the initial public offering, IPO, by the Philippine Stock Exchange, on listing date of March 5. It planned to sell up P92.8 million new shares and P49.9 million secondary shares at P12.93/share. Offer is 35% of the company's issue and outstanding capital stock. It appointed Banco de Oro, BDO, Capital and Investment Corporation as lead underwriter and Abacus Capital and Investments Corporation as co-lead underwriter. Viva's net income was P121 million for January to October 2007, double its 2006 earnings, and projects net profit of P330 million this year. Sharon Gamboa Cunita Pangilinan, born January 6, 1966, is a Filipino actress, singer, television personality, and businesswoman. Prolific in multiple fields of entertainment, she is known for playing dramatic and comedic leading roles in film and television. Her accolades include 3 FAMAS Awards, a Gawad Yurian Award, 19 Box Office Entertainment Awards, 3 PMPC Star Awards for movies, and 2 Muna Awards. Referred to as the megastar, Cunita began her career as a recording artist with the release of the 1978 single, Tawagin Pag-ibig, under Visor Music Corporation. She rose to prominence following the success of Mr. DJ, composed by Ray Valera, 1, with record sales exceeding 1 million in the Philippines. 2, Cunita is one of the best-selling Filipino musical artists of all time. Among her multi-platinum albums include Isn't It Romantic? 2006, For Broken Hearts Only, 1989, Moody Theme Songs, 1990, and Sharon Sings Valera, 1991. Some of her most successful songs include Bituing Walang Ningning, Mr. DJ, High School Life, Majin Sino Ka Man, Langdis at Tubi, Sanay Wala Ng Wakas, P.S. I Love You, To Love Again, and Kate Konting Paktingan. Following her success in music, Cunita also ventured into film and television acting. In 1981, she starred in her first feature film Dear Heart opposite Gabby Concepcion. That was followed by a string of acclaimed and blockbuster films such as Bukas Lolahat on Nga Tala, 1984, Bituing Walang Ningning, 1985, Babendan Ako Diduarjan Tita, 1989, Kate Konting Paktingan, 1990, Majin Sino Ka Man, 1991, Madrasta, 1996, Crying Ladies, 2003, Caregiver, 2008, and Unexpectedly Yours, 2017. In television, Cunita hosted musical shows such as The Sharon Cunita Show, 1986, Sharon, 1998, and served as judge in numerous talent competitions such as Star Power, 2010, Your Face Sounds Familiar, 2015, The Voice Kids, 2016, and The Voice Teens, 2017. Early life. Sharon Gamboa Cunita was born on January 6, 1966, at Our Lady of Lord Hospital in Santa Mesa, Manila. 3. Her mother, Elaine née Gamboa, 1934 to 2014, who had 1/4 American blood, was the sister of actress Helen Gamboa. 4. Her father, Pablo Cunita, 1910 to 2000, was a former mayor of Pasay. She has a brother named Cesar Chet, who ran for Pasay mayor in the 2019 elections but lost. 5. Cunita grew up listening to her father's record collection. Her mother, Elaine Gamboa, was a piano major at the University of Santo Tomas Conservatory of Music in her youth. The young Cunita would take up piano, guitar, and flute lessons to broaden her musical training and exposure at a young age. At the age of 3, Cunita would accompany her aunt, actress Helen Gamboa, during recordings of her television shows. 6. Another of her first proper TV appearances was on Ike Lozada's show, for the Kabulalit portion, where she mimicked the songs of her aunt, Helen Gamboa. Cunita was just as young when she appeared in her first movie, the Rosanna Ortiz-George Estragan vehicle Lovers for Hire, where she played one of Roderick Paulet's playmates. 7. Cunita attended St. Paul College, Pasig, and International School Manila for her primary to secondary education. Date. Career. 1978 to 1980, career beginnings. In January 1978, the 12-year-old Cunita made her first visit to 782 Aurora Boulevard, which was the address of Vicer Records. Her uncle and vice president of Vicer, Tito Sato, asked her to record Tawaging Pagibit 9, which she produced for her at Vicer, and shortly after, she was on television promoting her own song for the first time and on the TV show Discorama hosted by TVJ 10. The young Sharon was being interviewed live on Discorama, where she stated, "This is the show I watch every week. This is the show that I don't know how many hundreds of thousands or millions of people watch in the whole country. When it hit me, I couldn't talk." 11. In May 1978, Sharon Cunita followed up with a song by Ray Valera entitled Mr. DJ. Her producer and Vicer, Tito Sato, wanted Valera to make a song that would appeal to the radio DJs and convince them to play her record on the air. Mr. DJ became a popular hit and gave Cunita the moniker DJ's Pet, which also became the title of her debut LP. Cunita received her first gold record for this, and her music label Vicer Records came out with succeeding albums like Sharon and Sharon Cunita, and then High School, with the same level of success. Cunita released further popular singles including Na Lala Ka, Swing Moakl, Kayat Maputi Na Ang Bulhak Ko, and High School Life, which were also part of the Manila Sound era. Aside from her recording career, Cunita also began hosting with her aunt, Helen Gamboa, in a TV variety show titled CUTE or Call Us 2 for Entertainment on IBC 13/12. In 1980, because of her commercial success as a young singer, Cunita's boss at the time in Vicer Music, Boss Vic Del Rosario, gave her the golden opportunity to record her first George Canseco song, Tobigat Langas. This became the theme song of the film with same title, starring Vilma Santos and directed by Danny Zayalceda. During the Cebu Film Festival that same year, Langas at Tobit was an official entry and had a float made for the parade at the Sinulog Festival. The only people there were the director, Danny Zayalceda, and Shining's Silindan producer, Ani Rojas. But there were no actors from the actual movie who were able to go to Cebu for this event, as the main lead, Vilma Santos, was pregnant at the time. Shining Silindan asked permission from Boss Vic Del Rosario if the young Sharon Cunita, who sang the theme song, could join them on the float. Boss Vic agreed, and Cunita, accompanied by her mother, Elaine Cunita, headed to Cebu. My mom and I got on the float. We went to Cebu, my first time ever. When I got on the float and it started moving, I couldn't believe how people reacted to me. That they knew me. I just felt all this love come towards me like a rain of bullets. I can't explain the feeling. At that age, I was 14 already. A veteran, laughs, after 2 years of singing. 11. 1981 to 1984, Dear Heart, and the start of a movie career. On the same day as the Sinulog Festival float ride during the Cebu Film Festival, director Danny Zayalceda asked Cunita to appear in an upcoming film. Her parents eventually agreed to meet with Danny Zayalceda. Despite asking for an outlandishly large fee, Silingan agreed to pay the sum without reservation. Okay, pa. Call. That was it. 13, Zayalceda told her. If you would do this for me, I will make you a star. It was a commitment, a promise I made to her. 14, the topic of the leading man came up. Direct Danny said, who would you want to be your leading man? And my answer, of all things to say, was anybody but Gabby Concepcion. Turns out, the only one available was Gabby Concepcion. 11. Cunita starred in her first feature film, Dear Heart. 13. She was paired with then close-up model and Regal Films' 1980s heartthrob, Gabby Concepcion. Dear Heart was successful and paved the way for future collaborations. 13. Due to the commercial success of Dear Heart, a sequel was made. Since Shining Silingan didn't have the means to create an immediate follow-up film, Mayor Pablo Cuneta collaborated with Vic Del Rosario and established Viva Films. On November 12, 1981, Viva Films released its first feature film, P.S. I Love You, starring Cuneta and Concepcion. The film was a box office success and was followed by another Sharon Gaby collaboration, My Only Love, 1982, Doc. 15. Cuneta was also paired with other leading men, with the likes of William Martinez, in Forgive and Forget, Raul Santiago, in Cross My Heart and Friends in Love, and Miguel Rodriguez, in To Love Again, from 1982 to 1983, which made her the Miss RP movies for the years mentioned. 15. Cuneta top-billed 3 blockbuster melodramas in 1984, Sa Hirap at Ginhawa, Bukas, Lilahad, and Mga Tala, and Dapat Ka Bang Mahalan. That led to her eventual crowning as 1984's box office queen of RP movies. 16. Cuneta also staged a 2-night sold-out major concert at the Araneta Coliseum titled Sharon Solo with the Boys on July 20th and 21st, 1984, and was cited as the year's most outstanding female concert hall act by a Live Awards. 17. 1985 to 1989, Megastar and the Sharon Cuneta Show. In 1985, a pet project of the late Mina Aragon del Rosario, Bichuing Walang Ningning, was made into a film by Viva Films starring Cuneta, Christopher de Leon and Sherry Gill. The film was released on Valentine's Day, 1985, and was a box office success, crowning Cuneta once again as 1985's box office queen of RP movies and Bida Sa Taquilla, the latter given at the 1986 FAMAS Awards. The moniker, Megastar, was also given to her by the press during that year because of her continuous success in the box office. 18. Cuneta was also awarded Best Actress by FAMAS for her performance in the 1984 film Dapat Ka Bang Mahalan and by the Film Academy of the Philippines for Sa Hirap at Ginhawa. 16. In 1986, Cuneta's string of hit movies continued as she stars on 3 major movies, Nakagapos na Puso, with Lorna Tolentino, Captain Barbell, where she played a cameo role as Donna, and Sanay Wala ng Watas, with Sherry Dale and Dina Bonavi, the latter seeing her again awarded the 1986 box office Queen of RP movies. 15. Her first solo musical variety show, The Sharon Cuneta Show, also premiered in September 1986 on IBC, which also went on to be one of the longest-running musical variety shows in Philippine television. 19. While filming her first feature film Dear Heart, 1981, Cuneta began dating her on-screen partner Gaby Concepcion, and the two continued co-starring in films like P.S. I Love You, 1981, and Dapat Ka Bang Mahalan? Lit. Shall You Be Loved? 1984. After her short-lived marriage with Concepcion, Cuneta worked with national artist for film, Lino Brocka, for the first time via the film Pasan Kawan Daigdig. The film did not fare well at the box office. However, it earned Cuneta another Best Actress nomination from FAMAS. 15. In 1988, Cuneta only did 2 films, Jack and Jill Saw America and By One, Tick One, both receiving lukewarm response from the public. Cuneta's variety show was moved from IBC to ABS-CBN on March 6, 1988. 20. Cuneta continued touring abroad with the Sharon Cuneta U.S. Concert Tour 88 and was given a plaque of welcome and appreciation from Los Angeles Mayor Tom Bradley at her show at the Los Angeles Shrine Auditorium. In 1989, Cuneta worked with Lino Brocka once again in 2 movies, Free Mukaing Pagibig and Babangdan Ako de Argentina, the latter giving her another Best Actress nomination from FAMAS and the Film Academy of the Philippines. 16. 1990 to 1995, Box Office Queen Hall of Fame. Chinita's box office success continued with roles alongside popular action stars like Fernando Poe Jr., Kate Konting Paktingan, 1990, Robin Padilla, Majin Sinyo Kaman, 1991, Ramon Bon Revilla Jr., Pangako Sa Yo, 1992, Rudy Fernandez, Kung Kailangan Mo Ako, 1993. All those movies were certified blockbusters, that though she was already elevated to Hall of Fame as box office queen in 1990, she was crowned again in 1991 through 1993 because of the success of her movies. 16. Chinita also reconciled with estranged husband, Dabby Concepcion, in 3 more films, Bakit Ikaw Pa Rin? 1990, Unakan Najing Akin, 1991, and Tayan Dalawa, 1992, the latter giving her a Grand Slam Best Actress nomination from PMPC Style Awards for Movies, FAMAS, Film Academy of the Philippines and Gawad Urian. 16. Chinita won a Platinum Award in 1992, Double Platinum Award in 1991 and 1992, and Triple Platinum Award in 1992. 3. In 1992, Chinita reunited with former Flame, Richard Gomez in the film Nayan at Kailaman and in 1994 with Kapantay Lenggit. 1996, Madrasta, Second Marriage and Hiatus. For the first time, in 1996, Chinita made a film outside her mother's studio Viva Films via the film Madrasta from Star Cinema. This film garnered her Best Actress awards from all major award-giving bodies in the Philippines, hence a Grand Slam win for her outstanding performance in the film. Chinita became one of the few actresses, along with Filma Santos, Nora Honor, and Lorna Tolentino, to be given a Grand Slam Best Actress award in Philippine cinema. 21, 22. 2000 to 2011, Multimedia Era. In 2000, Chinita filmed Minsan Minahal Kita alongside Richard Gomez, which earned $10 million on its opening day. 23. She was named Best Actress during the 2002 Manila Film Festival in June for her role in Viva Films' Magapatid. In the same month she was given a Civic Award by the City of Manila the Patnabayang Shining at Kalinwagan for cinema. Other list of awardees included the likes of Raul Locsin for architecture, Agnes Ariano for sculpture and the late Santiago Bose for new art form. 24. She did not make any films from 2004 through 2007 as she concentrated her career more on television and music. In 2006, she released a studio album, Isn't It Romantic?, which was awarded with a diamond certification, sold over 250,000 units in the Philippines. 25. On January 6, 2006, Chinita returned to television from her maternity leave with a 40th birthday celebration on ABS-CBN's On Pagbabalaking Bituin, The Return of the Star. The following month, she came back to her musical talk show, Sharon. After a long rest from filmmaking, she made another film, Caregiver, in 2008, which, according to ABS-CBN, is their most expensive film. In this film, Chinita played the role of a school teacher working abroad as a caregiver. The film was the 5th highest-grossing film of 2008, 26. In 2009, Chinita starred in BFF, Best Friends Forever with Ai Delas Alas, and for the first time in her 30 years, a film with Regal Entertainment via Mano Pa6, which later on gave her another Best Actress citation at the 2009 Metro Manila Film Festival. On January 12, 2010, Coinciding with her annual birthday show, she launched her eponymous magazine Sharon at Home, 27. Her long-running musical talk show, Sharon, ended on October 3, 2010, and was replaced by a talent show, which she also hosted, Star Power, with singers Christian Bautista and Eric Santos as her co-hosts. After Star Power, Chinita hosted the Philippine franchise of the popular U.S. reality show, The Biggest Loser Pinoy Edition, on May 30, 2011, which she co-hosted, 28. 2011 to 2013, transferred to TV5. On November 22, 2011, Chinita left ABS-CBN, her home network of 23 years, and signed a 5-year contract with TV5. The contract was rumored to be worth 1 billion pesos, according to celebrity tweets in microblogging site Twitter, which is the biggest talent fee ever of any local artist in the Philippine showbiz history. 29. In 2012, Chinita started her first talk show under her new network, Sharon, Kasama Mo, Kapatid. The show ran for 8 months, 30. In September 2013, Chinita became a co-host of musical variety talk show The Mega and the songwriter alongside Ogie Alcacid, 31. Chinita's comedy series, Madam Chairman, premiered on October 14. It was her first TV series in 35 years. It revolves around a barangay chairwoman and her struggles in dividing her role as a mother and as a public official, 32. 2014, present, departure from TV5 and return to ABS-CBN. Chinita, Center, in Pink, promoting Family of Two at the 2023 Metro Manila Film Festival Parade. In September 2014, Chinita announced through Facebook and Twitter that she had pre-terminated her 5-year contract with TV5 and was a freelancer, 33. In March 2015, she signed a contract with ABS-CBN, marking her return to her home network of 23 years, saying, "It is overwhelmingly wonderful. There's really no place like home. I don't belong to anywhere else, and now I'm back home, safe and sound." 34. Upon returning, she also announced that her first project in the channel would be as a judge in Your Face Sounds Familiar, 35. In an interview on May 2, 2016, on TV Patrol, she stated that she will serve as one of the 3 judges, for the 3rd season of The Voice Kids, replacing Sarah Geronimo, who earlier this year confirmed her departure from the show. 36. She also became one of the coaches for the 1st season of The Voice Teens. While filming her first feature film Dear Heart, 1981, Chinita began dating her on-screen partner Gabby Concepcion, and the two continued co-starring in films like P.S. I Love You, 1981, and Dapat Ka Bang Mahalin, 1984. The two married on September 23, 1984, at Manila Cathedral. Then President and autocrat Ferdinand Marcos was among the sponsors. 39. The couple had one child, actress Casey Concepcion, born in April 1985. 40. In August 1987, Chinita and Concepcion legally separated, citing irreconcilable differences and bigamy. Concepcion was already legally married to another woman. Their marriage was annulled in 1993. Chinita met politician Francis Pangilinan during a taping of Hoy Gising, which Pangilinan co-hosted. The two began dating in 1994 and married on April 28, 1996. 44. In 1997, Chinita, her daughter Casey, and Pangilinan moved to Boston, where Chinita completed her major in business while her husband finished his postgraduate studies at Harvard University. Pangilinan has since adopted Casey. 46. Aside from Casey, Chinita and Pangilinan have 2 daughters, including singer-songwriter Keiki, and 1 adopted son. 47. The Pangilinan family maintains residences in Makati and in Ayala West Grove Heights in Silang, Cavite. Chinita and her daughter Casey also maintain their legal residency in the United States, currently based in Los Angeles. Chinita is a fan of the K-pop groups EXO, NCT 127, and SHINee, 51. She, along with her youngest daughter, met NCT 127 in 2019. On May 10, 2024, Chinita and Pangilinan filed before the Makati Prosecutor's Office complaints against radio host Christy Fermin. Britannico Samiento and Ringler Law Offices said the case is anchored on alleged defamation, in violation of the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012, centering on the couple's personal and family affairs. 53. On Christy Fermin replied to the complaints, saying that she understood where the couple was coming from. Legacy. The industry cannot survive. The history of the industry cannot be made without mentioning the one and only Sharon Cuneta. Joel Lamangdon on Cuneta's cultural significance in Philippine entertainment, 2018. Dubbed as the megastar, 56, 57, 58, 59, for her unprecedented success in film, music, and television, A&R director of BMG Philippines Vic Valenciano noted Cuneta's commercial power, saying, "Sharon is a huge singing, acting, television and modeling star in the Philippines and has a strong following of Filipino domestic helpers in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Singapore, and Malaysia." 60. Cuneta is the first Filipina artist to sell out at the Los Angeles Shrine Auditorium, first in 1988 and again in 2005. Her poster is enshrined in the Shrine Auditorium's Hall of Fame next to those of Michael Jackson, Barbra Streisand, and the Ballet Folklorico de Mexico. Her concert reportedly created a traffic jam in the 1980s that puzzled the former mayor of Los Angeles, Tom Bradley. After hearing of her success, the mayor attended the concert and awarded Sharon with an honorary T to the city of Los Angeles. 61. She has interviewed other celebrities such as Mandy Moore, Vic Cho, and Jerry Yen. 62. Cuneta is also recognized as the most expensive and effective product endorser in the Philippines. 63, 64, 65, 66, dominating billboards, TV commercials, newspaper ads, and selling everything for the upscale market and the masses. 67. She was recognized as an Yeller and Ina and a Hallmark Channel Woman Achiever awardee in 2001. 68. In 2002, she was one of the youngest honorees in the Patnabayang Sining at Kalinangan for cinema, given by the city of Manila. 69. In 2004, she was named one of the Philippines' 15 Best Actresses of All Time by the Directors Guild of the Philippines Incorporated, DGPI. 70. In the same year, she was also named Most Effective Product Endorser because of her credibility by the AC Nielsen, a top-rated survey group in the Philippines. In December 2004, Sharon Cuneta was the first in her category, Arts/Movies, to be awarded the highly prestigious TOYM or the Outstanding Young Man Award, presented to her by then-President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. 71. Cuneta is the first recipient of the Mix Magna Award in 2006 as a music icon with an exemplary contribution to Philippine music. She was the recipient of the OPM Lifetime Achievement Award at the MR Pinoy Music Awards in 2015. 72. On April 26, 2015, Cuneta received the Dolphy Lifetime Achievement Award at the 6th Golden Screen Awards. In 2017, Sharon Cuneta was elevated to the Makabata Hall of Fame of the ANAC TV Awards for being voted as Makabata Stars for 7 years. 73. In 2018, she received the History Maker Award 2018 from A+E Networks Asia, which honors Filipinos who have had a significant impact on the nation's life and culture. 74. Chinita was also the first recipient of the Viva Icon Award at the Viva Convention in 2019 for her invaluable contribution to television, film, recording, and concerts. 75. Artistry. Chinita possesses an alto vocal range. 76, noted for her delivery and tone. Her music, primarily in pop, has been referenced and impersonated in pop culture like Pinoy drag and singing competitions. 77, as well as influenced a generation of artists like the American R&B artist, Her. 78, and Asia's songbird, Regine Velasquez. She has already worked with world-renowned performers including Angela Bofill, 79, Andy Lau, 79, Billy Preston, David Pomerantz, 80, and Michael Bublé. As an actress, Chinita is among the most accomplished and acclaimed actresses in the country. She is noted for her charm, 81, 82, and versatility. Real estate enterprises and other business ventures. Chinita owns a residential project of 6 high-quality exclusive 4-story townhouses at number 74 Scout Rallos, Quezon City, near trendy restaurants in the area and within walking distance to and from Tomas Morato and Timog Avenues. 87. Aside from residential real estate enterprises, Chinita and Panalinan on a 3-hectare farm called Sweet Spring Country Farm in the uplands of Alfonso, Cavite. Angela Tomasa Bofill, May 2, 1954 to June 13, 2024, was an American singer, songwriter, and composer of Cuban-Puerto Rican origins. A New York native, she began her professional career in the mid-1970s, too, and is most known for singles such as This Time I'll Be Sweeter, Angel of the Night, and Hi Try. Her career spanned over 4 decades. Early life and education. Angela Tomasa Bofill was born on May 2, 1954, in Brooklyn area of New York City, 3, to a Cuban father and a Puerto Rican mother. 4, raised in the Bronx, Bofill grew up listening to Latin music and was also inspired by American performers. During Bofill's childhood, her weekends were taken up studying classical music and singing in New York City's All-City Chorus, which featured the best singers. Bofill began her professional career, singing during her teenage years. Bofill performed with Ricardo Marrero and the group and dance theater of Harlem Chorus before being introduced to Dave Grusin and Larry Rosen of the jazz label GRP Records by Dave Valentine, her friend and jazz flautist. 7. Grusin and Rosen signed Bofill and produced her first album, Angie, in 1978. Angie was well received both critically and commercially and included the chart single, This Time I'll Be Sweeter, co-written by Gwen Guthrie and Harris Fire, and Bofill's sprawling jazz composition, Under the Moon and Over the Sky. Less than a year later, a second album, Angel of the Night, was released and outperformed its predecessor. The album included the chart singles, What I Wouldn't Do, For the Love of You, and the up-tempo title track, as well as the song, Hi Try, written by Bofill and covered by Will Downing in 1991. The reception of these albums positioned Bofill as one of the first Latina singers to find success in the R&B and jazz markets. Bofill performed the sold-out concert at Davery Fisher Hall as part of the Newport Jazz Festival on June 20, 1980. Her musical director was Onage Allen Gums, keyboards, Sammy Figueroa, percussion, a 9-piece band and guests including Steve Kahn, guitar, Betty Daniels, tenor sax and flute, and a 24-voice choir. 9. Clive Davis, the head of Arista Records, showed interest in Bofill. Arista had a distribution deal with GRP. Bofill switched labels for her next album, Something About You, 1981. Produced by Narada Michael Walden, the album was an attempt to move Bofill into mainstream R&B and pop music. It didn't perform as well as previous releases, despite the singles "Holden" "Out for Love" and the title track, which both reached the R&B Top 40, 10. The following year, Bofill and Walden reunited for Too Tough. The title song reached number 5 on the R&B chart and spent 4 weeks at number 2 on the dance chart. A follow-up single, Tonight I Give In, reached the top 20, 11. Several months later, Bofill released her final collaboration with Walden, Teaser. The album failed to match the success of Too Tough but did produce one top 20 R&B hit, I'm on Your Side, which has been covered by several artists, most notably Jennifer Holliday, who had a top 10 hit with it in 1991, 11. Bofill recorded 2 more albums for Aristo with the help of The System and George Duke before leaving the label in the mid-1980s. Following the birth of her daughter, she moved to Capitol Records and the producer Norman Connors for Intuition, 1988, which produced her last significant chart success, a cover of Gino Vanelli's I Just Wanna Stop, which reached number 11 on the R&B chart. She recorded 3 more albums over the next 8 years and provided backing vocals on albums for Diana Ross and Kirk Whalum and for Connors' Eternity, 2000. She performed live, with a sizable audience internationally, particularly in Asia, and appeared in the stage plays God Don't Like Ugly and What a Man Wants, What a Man Needs. She also toured the US and Europe in multi-artist jazz shows, 10. Bofill returned to the stage, at the suggestion of Engel, for The Angela Bofill Experience, after losing her ability to sing after her second stroke in 2007. In the show, Bofill recounted her life and career and was joined by Mesa Leak, Phil Perry, and Melba Moore, who performed her biggest hits and signature songs. In 2012, Bofill was profiled and interviewed for the TV One documentary series, Unsung: Health Problems and Death. Bofill suffered a stroke on January 10, 2006, and was paralyzed on her left side. She convalesced at Sutter Hospital in Santa Rosa, California, and was released from intensive care on January 15, requiring speech and physical therapy. Bofill lacked health insurance, and a benefit concert was organized to pay her hospital bills. The show was planned by Rich Engel, her manager, and the New York radio stations Kiss FM and WFAN-FM. It took place on March 11, 2006, at the Berkin Performing Arts Center in Englewood, New Jersey. Similar events followed, and other aid was sought from the Rhythm and Blues Foundation. Her album Live from Manila, recorded in September 2004, was released during this time. Bofill suffered a second stroke in July 2007, which required therapy and left both her speech and mobility impaired. She died on June 13, 2024, at the age of 70 at her daughter's home in Vallejo, California. Bofill's funeral mass was held on June 28, 2024 at St. Dominic's Catholic Church in Benicia, California. A drag queen is a person, usually male, who uses drag clothing and makeup to imitate and often exaggerate female gender signifiers and gender roles for entertainment purposes. Historically, drag queens have usually been gay men, and have been a part of gay culture. People do drag for reasons ranging from self-expression to mainstream performance. Drag shows frequently include lip-syncing, live singing, and dancing. They typically occur at LGBTQ pride parades, drag pageants, cabarets, carnivals, and nightclubs. Drag queens vary by type, culture, and dedication, from professionals who star in films and spend a lot of their time in their drag personas, to people who do drag only occasionally. In most cases, women who dress as men and entertain by imitating them are called drag kings. John Hunter, State Theater, Sydney, May 1952. The term female impersonation refers to a type of theatrical performance where a man dresses in women's clothing for the sole purpose of entertaining an audience. 9. The term female impersonator is sometimes used interchangeably with drag queen, although they are not the same. 9. For example, in 1972, Esther Newton described a female impersonator as a professional drag queen. 10. She considered the term female impersonator to be the one that was, then, widely understood by heterosexual audiences. 10. However, feminist and queer studies scholar Sarah French defined a clear separation between these two terms. She defined drag as an art form associated with queer identity, whereas female impersonation comes from a wide range of gender identity paradigms, including heteronormativity. Additionally, many drag artists view drag as a lived form of self-expression or creativity, and perceive drag as something that is not limited to the stage or to performance. In contrast, female impersonation is specifically limited to performance and may or may not involve an LGBTQI point of view. 9. Female impersonation can be traced back at least as far as ancient Greece. There was little to no gender equity then, and women held a lower social status. This meant male actors would play female roles during theatrical performances. 11. This tradition continued for centuries but began to be less prevalent as motion pictures became popular. During the era of vaudeville, it was considered immodest for women to appear on stage. Due to that circumstance, some men became famous as female impersonators, the most notable being Julian Eltinge. At the peak of his career, he was one of the most sought-after and highest-paid actors in the world. 12. Andrew Tribble was another early female impersonator who gained fame on Broadway and in black vaudeville. 13. In the 20th century, some gender impersonators, both female and male, in the United States became highly successful performing artists in non-LGBTQ nightclubs and theaters. There was a concerted effort by these working female and male impersonators in America to separate the art of gender impersonation from queer identity, with an overt representation of working gender impersonators as heterosexual. Some of the performers were in fact cisgender heterosexual men and women, but others were closeted LGBTQI individuals due to the politics and social environment of the period. It was criminal in many American cities to be homosexual, or for LGBTQI people to congregate, and it was therefore necessary for female and male impersonators to distance themselves from identifying as queer publicly to avoid criminal charges and loss of career. The need to hide and dissociate from queer identity was prevalent among gender impersonators working in non-LGBTQ nightclubs before heteronormative audiences as late as the 1970s. 14. Female impersonation has been and continues to be illegal in some places, which inspired the drag queen Jose Sarria to hand out labels to his friends reading, "I am a boy," so they could not be accused of female impersonation. 15. American drag queen RuPaul once said, "I do not impersonate females." How many women do you know who wear 7-inch heels, 4-foot wigs, and skin-tight dresses? He also said, "I don't dress like a woman, I dress like a drag queen." 16. Drag queens and kings. The meaning of the term drag queen has changed across time. The term first emerged in New York City in the 1950s, and initially had two meanings. The first meaning referred to an amateur performer who did not make a living in drag but may have participated in amateur public performances such as those held at a drag ball or a drag pageant. This was meant to draw a line differentiating amateurs performing in drag for fun from professional female impersonators who made a living performing in drag. 17. The second original meaning of drag queen was applied to men who chose to wear women's clothing on the streets, an act which was at that time illegal in New York City. Of this latter type, Two additional slang terms were applied: square drag queens, which meant boys who looked like girls but who you knew were boys, and street queens, who were queer male sex workers, often homeless, who dressed as women. This second use of the term was also layered with transphobic subtext, and the term drag queen was again meant to protect the professional female impersonator by allowing them to dissociate themselves from both aspects of queer culture and from sex workers to maintain respectability among the predominantly heteronormative audiences who employed them. This understanding of the term drag queen persisted through the 1960s. 17. In 1971, an article in Lee Brewster's Drag Queens magazine described a drag queen as a homosexual transvestite who is hyperfeminine, flamboyant, and militant. 18. 19. Drag queens were further described as having an attitude of superiority and commonly courted by heterosexual men who would not ordinarily participate in homosexual relationships. 18. 19. While the term drag queen implied homosexual transvestite, the term drag carried no such connotations. 20. In the 1970s, drag queen was continually defined as a homosexual transvestite. 10. Drag was parsed as changing one's clothes to those of a different sex, while queen was said to refer to a homosexual man. 10. For much of history, drag queens were men, but in more modern times, cisgender and trans women, as well as non-binary people, also perform as drag queens. 21, 22, 23, 24. In a 2018 article, Psychology Today stated that drag queens are most typically gay cisgender men, though there are many drag queens of varying sexual orientations and gender identities. 25. Examples of trans feminine drag queens, sometimes called trans queens. 26. Include Monica Beverly Hills. 21, 22, and Peppermint. 23. Cisgender female drag queens are sometimes called folk queens or bio queens, though critics of this practice assert that folk carries the connotation that the drag is fake, and that the use of bio queen exclusively for cisgender females is a misnomer since trans feminine queens exhibit gynomorphic features. 27, 28. Drag queens' counterparts are drag kings, performers, usually women, who dress in exaggeratedly masculine clothing. Examples of drag kings include Landon Cider. Trans men who dress like drag kings are sometimes termed trans kings. Alternative terms: Kuka McQueer, Tunisian drag queen. Some drag queens may prefer to be referred to as she while in drag and desire to stay completely in character. 29. Other drag performers are indifferent to which pronoun is used to refer to them. RuPaul has said, "You can call me he. You can call me she. You can call me Regis and Kathy Lee, I don't care. Just so long as you call me." 30. Drag queens are sometimes called transvestites, although that term also has many other connotations than the term drag queen and is not much favored by many drag queens themselves. 31. The term tranny, an abbreviation of the term transvestite, has been adopted by some drag performers, notably RuPaul. 32. And the gay male community. 33. In the United States, but it is considered offensive to most transgender and transsexual people. 34. Many drag performers refer to themselves as drag artists, as opposed to drag queens, as some contemporary forms of drag have become non-binary. 35, 36. In Brazil, androgynous drag performers are sometimes called drag queer, as a form of gender neutrality. 37, 38, 39. Among drag queens and their contacts today, there is an ongoing debate about whether transgender drag queens are actually considered drag queens. Some argue that, because a drag queen is defined as a man portraying a woman, transgender women cannot be drag queens. Drag kings are women who assume a masculine aesthetic, but this is not always the case, because there are also bio kings, bio queens, and female queens, which are people who perform their own biological sex through a heightened or exaggerated gender presentation. In 1973, the first Canadian play about and starring a drag queen, Hosanna by Michel Tremblay, was performed at Théâtre de Quat'Sous in Montreal, 49. In 1977, the Canadian film Outrageous, starring drag queen Craig Russell, became one of the first gay-themed films to break out into mainstream theatrical release. India. Alex Matthew, left, beside his drag persona Maya the drag queen, right? In September 2018, the Supreme Court of India ruled that the application of Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code to consensual homosexual sex between adults was unconstitutional, irrational, indefensible, and manifestly arbitrary. Doc. 50. Since then, drag culture in India has been growing and becoming the mainstream art culture. The hotel chain of Lulak Groups operates a franchise of clubs where drag performances are hosted in major cities of India, such as Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore. Maya the Drag Queen, 51, Rani Kohana, Sushant Divkar, 52, Lush Monsoon, 53, 54, Beta Non-Stop, 55, Tropical Maca, 56, Zishan Ali, 57, and Patrini Sastry, 58, are some examples of Indian drag artists. In 2018, Hyderabad had its first drag convention, 59. In 2020, India's first drag-specific magazine Dradvanti began publication, 60. Lebanon. Lebanon is the only country in the Arab world with an increasingly visible drag scene, 61. Drag culture has existed in Lebanon for several decades but gained popularity with the astronomical rise of Bassem Fagali, who came to prominence in the 1990s, becoming a household name for his impersonation of Lebanese female singers, 62, 63. Due to the global success of RuPaul's Drag Race, Beirut's drag scene has adopted various influences that blend American drag culture with local, unique cultural elements. 64. The drag scene has grown so much that in 2019 Vogue magazine declared it a drag license. 65. Paraguay. Busha Didi Gunatita was a pioneer of drag art during the later years of the dictatorship of Alfredo Stroessner. Many drag queens of later generations claim her as a reference, and base their characters on Usha's exaggerated characteristics in her performances. 66, 67, 68. She is also remembered as one of the first trans people who was featured on Paraguayan television without being censored. 68, 69. Philippines. Before being colonized by Spain in the mid-1500s, it was a national custom for men to dress in women's clothing. 70. However, when the Spaniards arrived, they not only outlawed homosexuality but executed men that appeared to be homosexual. Spain cast a culture of machismo onto the Philippines, causing any kind of queerness and queer culture to be heavily suppressed. 70. Nonetheless, in the early 1900s, drag started to reappear in the media. Drag became a key element of national pantomime theater, and as time went on, drag queens appeared in other forms of theater and in movies. 70. South Africa. Drag in South Africa emerged in the 1950s in major cities such as Johannesburg and Cape Town. 71. It started in the form of underground pageants which created a safe space for members of the LGBTQ+ community in apartheid South Africa, where people could be punished by law for being gay. 71. Being gay was not legalized in South Africa until 1998, so pageants, such as the famous Miss Gay Western Cape, did not become official until the late 1990s. 72. Discrimination against drag is widespread in South Africa, and drag queens face the threat of violence because of being openly gay. Furthermore, there is not language to explore queerness in Xhosa, one of the indigenous languages of South Africa. 73. Taiwan. In 1994, entertainer Kai Tu established the male-to-female cross-dressing, Handingiran, Chinese, red-top artists, singing and dancing troupe, inspired by the Ladyboy cabaret shows in Thailand. 74. In 1998, the public television service program, Fruity Ice Cream, Chinese, featured the character, Grandma Fruit, Sui Gua Nai Nai, in male-to-female cross-dressing. This character became a staple on television. 74. The introduction of Taiwanese drag culture began with the underground Paradise Party in the 1990s. This party served as the starting point for Taiwan's first generation of local drag queens while the rights of the gay community were still limited. 74. Following the end of Paradise Party, the development of drag culture in Taiwan stagnated between approximately 1990 and 2010. In 2006, Alvin, the drag grandma, opened the bar, Café Dalida, in Ximending, and began regularly inviting drag queens to perform. 74. In the 2010s, Taiwan saw the emergence of two new underground parties, Work Party and Come Party. These parties became the staging grounds for Taiwan's new generation of local drag queens, such as Nymphial Wind. 74. Following the resurgence, many local Taiwanese drag queens began to emerge. 74. In 2020, the Taiwanese YouTube channel, FJ234, independently produced the online drag queen pageant show, Make a Diva. This program ran for 2 seasons. 74. In 2024, Nymphial Wind won the 16th season of RuPaul's Drag Race, becoming the first person of East Asian descent to win an installment of the American series. 75. Thailand. After homosexual acts were decriminalized in Thailand in 1956, gay clubs and other queer spaces began opening, which led to the first cabaret. However, drag in Thailand was actually heavily influenced by drag queens from the Philippines, as the first drag show started after the owner of a gay club saw drag queens from the Philippines perform in Bangkok. 76. Therefore, drag shows started in Thailand in the mid-1970s and have become increasingly popular over time, especially in major cities like Bangkok. 76. Nightclubs. In the early to mid-1900s, female impersonation had become tied to the LGBT community and thus criminality, so it had to change forms and locations. 92. It moved from being popular mainstream entertainment to something done only at night in disreputable areas, such as San Francisco's Tenderloin. 92. Here female impersonation started to evolve into what we today know as drag and drag queens. 79. Failed verification. Drag queens such as Jose Sarria, 93, first came to prominence in these clubs. 92. People went to these nightclubs to play with the boundaries of gender and sexuality, and it became a place for the LGBT community, especially gay men, to feel accepted. 94. As LGBT culture has slowly become more accepted in American society, drag has also become more, though not totally, acceptable in today's society. 79. In the 1940s and 1950s, Arthur Blake was one of the few female impersonators to be successful in both gay and mainstream entertainment, becoming famous for his impersonations of Betty Davis, Carmen Miranda, and Eleanor Roosevelt in nightclubs. 95. 96. At the invitation of the Roosevelts, he performed his impersonation of Eleanor at the White House. 97. 95. He impersonated Davis and Miranda in the 1952 film Diplomatic Courier. 98. On March 17, 1968, in Los Angeles, to protest entrapment and harassment by the Los Angeles Police Department, two drag queens known as the Princess and the Duchess held a St. Patrick's Day party at Griffith Park, a popular cruising spot and a frequent target of police activity. More than 200 gay men socialized throughout the day. 101 drag queens were also involved in the Stonewall riots, a series of spontaneous, violent demonstrations by members of the LGBT community against a police raid that took place in the early morning hours of June 28, 1969, at the Stonewall Inn, located in the Greenwich Village neighborhood of Manhattan, New York City. The riots are widely considered to be the catalyst for the gay liberation movement and the modern fight for LGBT rights in the United States. 102, 103. During the summer of 1976, a restaurant in Fire Island Pines, New York, denied entry to a visitor in drag named Terry Warren. When Warren's friends in Cherry Grove heard what had happened, they dressed up in drag and, on July 4, 1976, sailed to the Pines by water taxi. This turned into a yearly event where drag queens go to the Pines, called the Invasion of the Pines. 104. In 1991, drag queen Terrence Allen Smith, as Joan Jett Black, ran against Richard M. Daley for the office of mayor of Chicago, Illinois. 107. The campaign was chronicled in the 1991 video Drag and for Votes. 108. After qualifying for presidency on his 35th birthday. 109. Smith announced a campaign for presidency in 1992 under the slogan, Lick Bush in 92, and documented in the 1993 video of the same name. 108. Smith also ran for president in 1996 with the slogan, Lick Slick Willie in 96. In each of these campaigns, Smith ran on the Queer Nation Party ticket. 110. In June 2019, a play based on Smith's 1992 presidential campaign, titled Miss Black for President, written by Terrell Alvin McCraney and Tina Landau and starring McCraney in the title role, opened at Steppenwolf Theater in Chicago. In 2020, the first West End play to feature an all-drag cast, Death Drop, launched at the Garrick Theatre in London. Produced by Tuckshop and Trafalgar Entertainment, it was written by drag performer Holly Stars and starred Courtney Act, Monet Exchange, Latrice Royale, Willem, Holly Stars, Anna Phylactic, Louis Cipher, Don Juan, Kima Bob, Myra Dubois and Vinegar Strokes, and was directed by Jesse Jones. The show ran for a number of weeks in November and December 2020 before being closed due to a COVID lockdown in London. The show reopened on May 19, 2021 and ran until its scheduled end date of July 11, 2021. Death Drop received 5-star reviews from many publications including Gay Times, 130, and Attitude Magazine, 131, and was widely celebrated for. Crystal Snow, Finnish drag artist, 135, performing in 2012. While some male music celebrities wear exaggerated feminine clothing as part of their show, they are not necessarily drag queens. An example of a band that utilized drag as part of their stage act was the New York Dolls. Similarly, English new wave singer Boy George wears drag queen-style clothes and cosmetics. He once stated he was not a drag queen, 136, but on another occasions he said he was, 137. However, RuPaul is a professional drag queen performer and singer, 138. Drag queen Dawn McLean, drag name Laurie Shannon, 139, appeared in 3 episodes of the CBS sitcom All in the Family as drag queen Beverly LaSalle, Archie the Hero, 1975, in which Archie Bunker gives her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, not realizing she is male. Beverly Rides Again, 1976, in which Archie uses her to play a practical joke on a friend, and Edith's Crisis of Faith, Part 1, 1977, in which her murder leads Edith Bunker to question her faith in God. The role was noteworthy for its uncommonly respectful and sympathetic treatment of Beverly as a transvestite. British entertainer Paul O'Grady was a staple of light entertainment and variety shows on UK television from the early 80s to the mid-90s, playing the drag persona Lily Savage, an over-the-top, glamorous diva character for comedic effect. 142. Cotco was a Canadian sketch comedy series which aired on CBC television from 1988 to 1993. Wink with the Frown. 143. Two of its actors, Tommy Sexton and Greg Malone, were especially renowned for drag-based impersonations of celebrity women such as Queen Elizabeth, Barbara from Barbara Walters, Tammy Faye Bakker and Margaret Thatcher. In one famous sketch, Malone as from moderated a debate between Andy Jones as a day teacher who had been fired from his job for testing HIV positive and Sexton as Clarabelle Otterhead, the president of an anti-gay lobby group called Citizens Outraged by Weird Sex, or COWS. 144. Drag queen Amnesia Sparkles tried out for American Idol in 2002. 145. What Would You Do?, airing since early 2008, has had episodes featuring drag queens. 146. 147. In mid-2008, RuPaul began producing RuPaul's Drag Race, a reality television game show which began airing in February 2009. The premise of the program has several drag queens compete to be selected by RuPaul and a panel of judges as America's Next Drag Superstar. It inspired the similar spin-off shows RuPaul's Drag U and RuPaul's Drag Race, All Stars, as well as the international franchise editions Drag Race Thailand, The Switch Drag Race, Chile, RuPaul's Drag Race UK, Canada's Drag Race Holland, Drag Race España, RuPaul's Drag Race Down Under, Drag Race France, Drag Race Philippines among many others. In 2018, American Idol featured a drag queen, Adam Sanders, drag name Ada Vox, as one of its contestants. 148, he made it to the top 10. 148. In 2018, Celebrity Big Brother featured Queen Shane Jenna, drag name Courtney Act, as one of its contestants, placing first in the season with 49.43% of the public vote. 149, citation needed. Also in 2018, So You Think You Can Dance featured Jay Jackson, drag name Laganja Estranja, as one of its contestants. 150. The Netflix show Dancing Queen, also released in 2018, starred Justin Johnson, drag name Alyssa Edwards, and his dance studio, Beyond Belief Dance Company. 151. Dragnificent is a television series on the American network TLC. The show started as a special branded as Drag Me Down the Aisle, which aired on 9 March 2019. 154. It features Alexis Michelle, Bibi Zahara Benet, Jujubee, and Thorgy Thor, four drag queens who are all RuPaul's Drag Race alumni, helping an engaged woman to plan her upcoming wedding. 155. On January 15, 2020, TLC announced that it had given a full season run to Dragnificent, a new show to be based on the Drag Me Down the Aisle special. 156. The series premiered on April 19, 2020. The Netflix show AJ and the Queen, released in 2020, followed Ruby Red, a bigger-than-life but down-on-her-luck drag queen, played by RuPaul, who travels across America from club to club in a rundown 1990s R/V with her unlikely sidekick AJ, a recently orphaned, tough-talking, scrappy 10-year-old stowaway. As the two misfits travel from city to city, Ruby's message of love and acceptance winds up touching people and changing their lives for the better. 157. 158. In 2020, RuPaul became the first drag queen to host Saturday Night Live, though he was not in drag at the time. 159. In 2020-21, British drag queen Holly Stars wrote and performed in 2 seasons of a mockumentary series, Holly Stars, Inspirational, broadcast on Out TV. 160. Queen of the Universe, a drag queen singing competition television series hosted by Graham Norton with 4 pop music judges, premiered on Paramount Plus on 2 December 2021. 161. On June 23, 2023, the series was cancelled after 2 seasons. 162. In education. Globe icon. The examples and perspective in this section deal primarily with the United States and do not represent a worldwide view of the subject. You may improve this section, discuss the issue on the talk page, or create a new section, as appropriate. April 2024, learn how and when to remove this message. While drag queens are entertainers, they play a role in educating people on gender roles and stereotyping. Professor Stephen Schacht of Plattsburgh State University of New York began introducing his and his students' experiences of attending a drag show to his gender/sexualities class to challenge his students' ideas of dichotomy. Over time, he began inviting students to attend with him. He gathered from his students that after attending the drag show, they had a new appreciation for gender and sexuality and often became very vocal about their new experiences in the classroom. 163. With children. Nina West, Drag Race Season 11 contestant and winner of Miss Congeniality, and producer of Dried as Magic, an EP of children's music about the art form, says she hopes to inspire them to dream big, be kind, and be their perfect selves. 164. West feels the art form is an opportunity for children to get creative and think outside the boxes us silly adults have crafted for them. 164. Marty Gould Cummings said something similar when a video of them performing Baby Shark and a drag brunch event went viral. 165. Anyone who thinks drag isn't for children is wrong, said Cummings. Drag is expression, and children are such judgment-free beings, they don't really care what you're wearing, just what you're performing. 165. As of May 2019, the video has been viewed over 806,000 times. 164. West responded to critics who question if children are too young to experience drag, saying, "Drag is an opportunity for anyone, including and especially children, to reconsider the masks we are all forced to wear daily." 164. West added, "Children are inundated with implicit imagery from media about what is boy and what is girl. And I believe that almost all kids are really less concerned about playing with a toy that's supposedly aligned to their gender, and more concerned with playing with toys that speak to them." 164. John Casey, an adjunct professor at Wagner College in New York City, posits in The Advocate, "Drag queens are incredibly talented, and they are trying to live their lives, and in the process, brighten the lives of those around them. That's the message parents should be communicating to their kids, at any age. It's all about acceptance and being loved for who you are." 166. Separately from kids watching drag, the phenomenon of drag kids is relatively recent. The New York Times in September 2019, published a guess that there are about 100 children who do drag in the U.S., with Desmond is Amazing being the one with the most followers. 167. The mainstream access to drag queens on television exponentially increased in 2009 when RuPaul's Drag Race started airing. 168. 169. However, as of 2022, exposing kids to drag has become somewhat controversial. Lawmakers in states such as Arizona, Florida, and Texas are attempting to ban minors from attending drag shows and punish parents who expose their kids to drag. 170. These attempts to ban minors from watching drag are based on allegations of drag being a form of perversion and hypersexualization. 170. Some have argued that these accusations are the same that were leveled against homosexual men since the Lavender Scare of the 1950s. 171. 172. Those who disagree with the accusations have argued that drag queens provide a safe and creative environment for young children, especially LGBTQ+ children, and are a source of both education and entertainment. 170. Storytime in libraries. In December 2015, Radar Productions and Michelle T. developed the concept of Drag Queen Story Hour. 173. Launched at the San Francisco Public Library, Drag Queen Story Hour was adopted by the Brooklyn Public Library in the summer of 2016 and has since traveled to various libraries, museums, bookstores, recreation centers, and parks across the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. 174. Such events sometimes prompt opposition against the libraries and organizers. 175. 176. In one instance in California, men belonging to the far-right group known as the Proud Boys arrived in a group and disrupted the event by shouting homophobic and transphobic phrases at the crowd. The county sheriff's office opened a hate crime investigation into the incident due to the nature of the disruption. 170. Proud Boys sometimes bring guns for intimidation purposes. 177. Some leftist groups, such as the Elm Fork John Brown Gun Club, organize armed counter-protests to keep protesters out of the building. This usually leads to the presence of police to ensure that both groups don't harm each other. 178. Societal reception. Drag has come to be a celebrated and important aspect of modern-day life. 126. But has also been criticized for degrading women. 179. In the era of second-wave feminism, some women were angry and appalled by what they perceived as the charade of femininity expressed by some drag queens and transsexual women. 180. These critics compared drag to blackface and saw it as a kind of gender minstrel. 180. Many day bars and clubs around the world hold drag shows as regular events or for special parties. Several international drag day holidays have been started over the years to promote the shows. In the United States, Drag Day is typically celebrated in early March. A televised drag competition, RuPaul's Drag Race, is the most successful program on the Logo television network. In 2016, the show won a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Host for a Reality or Reality Competition Program. 181. In 2018, the show became the first show to win a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Reality Competition Program and a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Host for a Reality or Reality Competition Program in the same year. RuPaul received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for his contributions to the television industry on March 16, 2018, making him the first drag queen to be given such an award. 185. 186. Moral panic. A moral panic called drag panic has emerged in the United States in relation to drag queen performers. It alleges that contact between children and drag queens would involve drag queens attempting to molest them or indoctrinate them into the queer way of life. 187. This moral panic has also been linked to the LGBT grooming conspiracy theory, also from the United States. Drag panic, also called drag queen panic or anti-drag hysteria, is a moral panic that stems from the belief that exposure to drag, especially from minors, can be harmful due to its perceived sexual nature. 1, 2, 3. drag panic has motivated protests and attacks against the LGBTQ+ community by extremist groups, too, and often includes the belief that all-ages drag performances are attempts by the LGBTQ+ community to sexualize or recruit children. 4, 5, 6. Anti-drag sentiment and broader anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ+ sentiment, which had been building for a number of years, became more prominent in 2019, 7, 8. Since then, a series of rallies and counter-rallies have been held in the United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, and in other countries, largely against drag queens reading children's books at family events. 9. Throughout 2022, there were at least 141 incidents of protests and harassment towards drag events in the United States alone. 6. Drag panic has been suggested as a motivator for the firebombing of an Oklahoma donut shop and the Club Q mass shooting, among other violent incidents. 10, 11, 12. Background. See also, History of drag. Drag queen arrested in NYC, 1962. Throughout much of the early 20th century, drag performances in the United States were criminalized under cross-dressing laws. 13, 14. The 1969 Stonewall riots began after the New York City Police Department sought to arrest people for violating New York's informal, three-item rule, which required individuals to wear at least 3 articles of clothing of their assigned sex. 15, 16, 17. As such laws were relaxed in the second half of the 20th century, drag appeared in works of wide popular relevance, such as Some Like It Hot, 1959, and The Birdcage, 1996, and the Australian film The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, 1994. 18. In the early 21st century, the art of drag continued to gain popularity and went mainstream in American culture, such as via RuPaul's Drag Race, 19, Queen of the Universe, 20, and Drag Denver, 21. By 2019, as a reaction to the mainstream profile of drag, right-wing figures such as Charo, 22, Matt Walsh, 23, 24, Tucker Carlson, 25, Michael Knowles, 26, Dennis Prager, 27, Candace Owens, 28, and Ben Shapiro, 29, began to link drag queens to the LGBT grooming conspiracy theory, calling to limit their visibility. 26, 30, 31. Subsequently, a number of American states, with a Republican majority, 32, 33, proposed and approved laws intended to limit drag queen performances in public. 34, 35, 36. Some protesters at LGBTQ+ and drag events have been armed with guns and explosives, and/or engaged in acts of violence or property damage. 37. Similar anti-drag protests, sometimes amounting to threats or violence, have since been made in Australia. 38. Canada, 39, the UK, 40, 41, and elsewhere, often influenced by these American right-wing figures. 42. By region. North America. United States. People protesting against Drag Queen Story Hour in 2022. Protests against drag performances, especially Drag Queen Story Hour, increased after the 2021 attacks at the United States Capitol. 43. The most vocal opponents are mostly affiliated with alt-right groups. 43. Former Fox News host Tucker Carlson suggested that drag events could indoctrinate or sexualize the children. 43. Protesters also have expressed homophobic conspiracy theories that performers are grooming children. 44. 7. The Anti-Defamation League reported that the child abuse conspiracy theory has been fueled by the libs of TikTok, a far-right Twitter account. 7. LGBTQ media advocacy group GLAAD reported over 140 threats against drag shows in the U.S. throughout 2022, 45, according to a 2022 GLAAD analysis of United States media, social media, and news coverage. As of December 14, 2022, there had been at least 141 incidents in 2022 of anti-LGBTQ protests and threats targeting specific drag events, including during Pride festivities and false rhetoric against performers deployed in campaign ads for the midterm elections. 37. The report also stated incidents included armed white supremacists demonstrating in Texas and the firebombing of a Tulsa donut shop that had hosted a drag event in October. 37. USA Today reported that harassment including threats of lynching and castration had been made to drag performers. 46. In June 2022, Drag Your Kids to Pride, an event at Mr., a gay bar in Dallas, Texas, resulted in protests after videos from the event showed drag queens dancing while children and their parents watched and tipped them. 47. Attendees said the event was a celebration. The children played musical chairs and some of them walked on the catwalk with performers. 48. Protesters accused the organizers and performers of grooming children and objected to a sign in the background of the club that read, "It's not gonna lick itself." 49. 47. In response, protesters made transphobic and homophobic remarks, as well as sending several hundred threatening emails, making threatening phone calls, and leaving negative reviews online. 48. Republican Representative Brian Slayton from Northeast Texas said he would file a bill to ban children from viewing such events. 50. 47. A January 2023 report by the Anti-Defamation League, titled "Online Amplifiers of Anti-LGBTQ+ Extremism," noted groups involved in protests against drag shows included Gays Against Groomers, Blaze Media, the Texas Family Project, Defend Our Kids Texas, and the Aryan Freedom Network. 51. In May 2023, masked neo-Nazi groups in Ohio protested a drag event in Columbus, carrying anti-drag and anti-trans banners, such as one that read, "There will be blood." 52. 53. In May 2023, Montana became the first state in the United States to specifically ban people dressed in drag from reading books to children at public schools